Don't just be Sam, be elite. Play Sam, play hard. No whining.
Oh yeah, what's up, Alpha? It is Freight Train. It is time for your Week 3 in review. I apologize for getting this one out before the Week 2 in review. The recap, as you can see, has a different format. The website we were using, Recap Wizard, is down, so I had to create one of these myself, and it took me about a day and a half or so to automate it. So I apologize for the delay, but let's get through things. Starting off for the Week 3 game of the week took Calvin and his Dolphins up against Fam and the Buffalo Bills. This game, if you got to see it, was amazing. It was back and forth the entire game. Came down to a tying or game-winning drive by Buffalo. And with, I think it was 6 or 9 seconds left on the clock, Buffalo was in field goal range. It was a long field goal, but they were definitely in field goal range. They had the opportunity to tie it before going into overtime. But Fam decided to throw an out route to try and get an extra 5, 6, maybe 7 yards to make the kick a little bit easier. Well, his receiver took the cut on the out route, fell down. Miami tackled him, touched him inbounds, and the clock ran out because he was out of timeout. So, unbelievable finish. Calvin squeaks away with this one. In the game, Bolster goes 12 of 19 for not 2,018 yards, but 171 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Ajayi had 18 rushes for 210 yards, 1 touchdown. He was all over the field. The rookie, I think it's maybe second-year guy, Hayden, 3 receptions, 34 yards, and Sanders actually led the league, or led the game in receptions for the Dolphins with 1 reception, 60 yards, and a touchdown. He caught a bomb. Buffalo. Jay Carson went 14 of 21, 218 yards, a touchdown with 2 picks. Redmond did it on the ground, 19 rushes for 132 yards, 2 scores by Redmond. Richmond had 4 receptions for 55 yards, and Switzer led the team in yards receiving, 3 catches for 60 yards. Great game of the week. Appreciate you guys putting in the effort there. Next will be your Player of the Week game, Retro Palm Trees. You'll see that Denver is now open. Hale, also known as Deadliest Shot, actually dropped the league after this, saying that Madden was making him too frustrated and too angry, and he just shouldn't be playing anymore. So Retro beat him out of the league by a score of 35-3. Prescott, 9 of 10 for 206 yards, 3 touchdowns. Reggie Bush had 16 carries for 116 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Cooks was the leading receiver, 4 receptions, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns for Cooks. And in the losing effort, Phillip Rivers was 9 of 21 for only 96 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. C.J. Anderson had 13 rushes for 105 yards, 1 touchdown. Henderson was the leading receiver in both receptions and yards, but he also picked up 2 touchdowns, 3 of 42, 3 catches for 42 yards and just 2 touchdowns. So good job there, Retro. Shame of the week. Shame of the week this week also goes to the open team that dropped, but runners-up would be Beast Mode. His defeat over Dubray M, 63-10. The Cardinals trounced the Cowboys. Drew Brees was 15 of 19 for 263 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Duke Johnson did it on the ground, or not Duke, David Johnson did it on the ground, 13 rushes, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, Johnson was also the leading receiver in this game with 5 receptions for 85 yards and 1 touchdown. Kind of cheesy, don't like seeing that. Debray, Patrick Mahomes, 22 of 34 for 274 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 picks. Ezekiel Elliott, 15 rushes, 25 yards, still having trouble finding it on the ground there, 2 touchdowns. Green, unfortunately, Green, I believe, is a tight end. 8 receptions, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. Look, Debray, you're going to have to do better than this. When I look through your game stats, all I see is passes to tight ends and passes to halfbacks. Now, I'm not sure where you came from or what your skill level is, but that is generally the sign of a lower skilled player. You don't want to be checking down and running these cheese routes all the time. Make sure you start kind of opening up the playbook, throw downfield. You've got some good receivers, man. You've got a good quarterback, good receivers. There's no point in wasting it throwing to a halfback and a tight end. It's kind of game. Next game, He Died picks up a victory, 35-10 over Term. Deshaun Kaiser in the loss, 9 of 19 for 105 yards, 4 touchdowns. Isaiah Crowell, 19 rushes, 137 yards, a touchdown. Also, Crowell had 2 receptions for -7 yards that had to be screens that went bad. Stephon Diggs couldn't get anything going, 2 receptions for 39 yards. Kirk Cousins, however, in the victory, 9 of 14 for 198 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Montgomery, 21 rushes, 67 yards, 1 touchdown. Tight end Fedorowicz had 3 receptions for 48 yards, while Montgomery had 2 receptions for 84 yards. Another case of the tight end and the halfback catching all of the balls in this game. That had to have been a boring game to watch. Sorry, guys. Next crawdad, Puck. Big game. San Francisco 48-10. Puck coming off his shutout loss to me by close to this. Puck's just on a bad streak right now. Ben Roethlisberger was 11 of 15, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns in the victory. Lamar Miller blowing up, 20 rushes, 226 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Calhoun did really well in the air, 6 receptions, 135 yards, 1 touchdown. Steve-O, 12 of 27, 190 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Chauncey did it, 11 rushes, 25 yards, 3 touchdowns, all short shit. Chauncey could not find room. And then Archer had 4 receptions for 69 yards and a touchdown in the loss for Puck. Bloom King took on T-Mac, and this game was close, as you can see. T-Mac pulled it off, 34-33. Excuse me. Bridgewater went 19 of 34, 316 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions for the Saints. Alvin Kamara, 11 rushes, 27 yards, 2 touchdowns, and here's a shocker. Michael Thomas led the team in receptions, 5 receptions, 104 yards, 1 touchdown. I always expect to see Fleener when you're looking at Bloom's stats. T-Mac, Tannehill looks like he's taken over the starting quarterback spot. 16 of 27, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tannehill kind of pissed off that Calvin said he was just a throwaway player. Gurley had 16 rushes for 94 yards, 1 touchdown. And Pierce, 6 receptions, 122 yards, and a touchdown. So looks like they spread the ball around pretty well there in Los Angeles. Chi-Town, big win over Giants fan, 52-40. It is a divisional matchup. Deshaun Watson, 17-24, 402 yards, big game, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Perrine on the ground, 12 rushes, 55 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Paul Richardson, 8 receptions, 201 yards, 1 touchdown. Got to wonder if anybody else got any passes in that game. That's almost half of the passes. David Webb in the loss was 20 of 32 for 450 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a lot of yards put up in this game. Derrick Henry, 11 rushes for 40 yards, 2 touchdowns. Beckham, you know he's going to do his thing. 9 receptions, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns. Guys, here's a clue. If you're playing Giants fan, just spotlight Beckham. Come on. I mean, he's handled. Giants fan, 115. Favorite team? The Giants. Favorite player? I'm guessing it's Beckham. So this doesn't take a genius to figure out. Good job, guys. Shill, this score is kind of a misnomer. They actually played, and for whatever reason, the game did not record the game. So while the score here says Maniac 38 over Chill 20, the final score, I don't know what it actually was, but this is what Maniac ended up getting when he played the CPU to make up for the fact that their game did not record. So Stafford had 186 yards in the loss, passing, 2 interceptions. Le'Veon Bell, 24 rushes, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns. Antonio Brown, 7 receptions, 97 yards. Some decent stats for the CPU there. And then Andrew Luck was 21 of 31, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Joe Mixon on the ground, 18 rushes, 151 yards. Dante Moncrief had 5 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown. And Baldwin, big game, 4 receptions for 102 yards. Again, this was against the CPU because Maniac and Chill had played, but for whatever reason, the game did not record the score. Going into the next game here, 2 new guys, Ant versus Darain. Ant had 44 points to Darain's 28. Looking at the stats and the winners, Jimmy Garoppolo went 9 of 15 for 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Tevin Coleman, 27 rushes, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Marquise Lee, 2 receptions, 104 yards, 1 touchdown. That's a lot of yards for just 2 catches. And then Tercero had 2 receptions, 118 yards, trouncing Lee, also getting a touchdown. In the loss, Darain, 12 of 19, 231 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Barnes on the ground, 18 rushes, 90 yards, 3 touchdowns. Ty through the air. He had the most receptions with 4 receptions, 52 yards, but McManus topped him out in yardage with 1 reception for 56 yards and touchdowns. Congratulations, Ant. Nice win there. I went up against DTFM. This game was not really even fair. DTFM, if you guys don't know, just recently had surgery on his hand. Posted about it in the chat. Make sure you take a look about it. It's hard for him to play, to be honest with you. 9 of 12 for Matt Ryan, 205 yards, 3 touchdowns and interception. Freeman had 14 rushes, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns. Completely unfair. Every time I juked or spinned, DTFM really couldn't do anything about it to cover him because he had a broken hand. The second-year guy, Jay Mellett, 4 receptions, 76 yards, a touchdown. And then Riley, 4 receptions, 120 yards, a touchdown for the Falcons. In the losing effort, DTFM, Webb had 19 completions, 36 attempts, 360 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 picks, though. Dalvin Cook actually managed 14 rushes, but that was very painful for DTFM. 37 yards, a touchdown, and then Cox through the air. 7 receptions, 151 yards, 1 touchdown. Another big scoring game. Almost 100 points scored in this game total. Nabil trouncing No Comp, 65-34. The Frenchman was 10 of 11 for 275 yards, 7 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns. Jesus. Gibson on the ground, 21 rushes, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns. Davis, 5 receptions, 144 yards, 3 touchdowns to him. No Comp in the losing effort was 15 of 23 with Mariota, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Melvin Gordon, though, he racked up some yardage with 19 carries for 199 yards with 2 scores for him. Keenan Allen, 5 receptions, 112 yards, and scored as well. Another good game here that I expected to be closer than what it was, but Moneyboy just is having trouble finding his form again in Madden 18. Tillman dropping Moneyboy 52-38. Russell Wilson looked good, 11 of 20 for 335 yards, 4 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. You know, that's not what you see out of Tillman normally. Jay Morrell, 20 rushes, 258 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's picking up speed. Donaldson, though, 6 receptions, 187 yards, and a score. Packers, you know Aaron Rodgers is going to get his numbers. 25 of 38, 499 yards, 4 touchdowns, but 4 picks as well. That's not Aaron Rodgers like. Hampton on the ground, 13 rushes, 28 yards, 1 touchdown, could not find a lot of room. And then Cobb had 8 receptions for 172 yards and a touchdown. But Jones says, you know what, I can get 100 yards too. I'll even do better with less. 7 receptions, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns in the losing effort for Moneyboy. Sean Death dished it out. This was a big divisional battle. Looks like this game went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Dish It Out finally pulls out the win, 44-42. Jameis Winston, 21 of 29, 315 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Anderson on the ground, 15 rushes, 161 yards, a touchdown. Mike Evans, 7 receptions, 105 yards, 1 touchdown. That's a big wide receiver there for you. And Holloman, I think he's a rookie, 6 receptions, 119 yards. Sean Death, in the losing effort, was 11 of 16 with Blake Bortles. That's not surprising. Bortles usually misses more than that. But 201 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Very Bortles-like. McCaffrey, 14 rushes, 177 yards, and a touchdown. McCaffrey says, you know what? Screw that fucking patch. I'm going to juke and spin anyway. Kelvin Benjamin, 4 receptions, 107 yards. 1 touchdown was the leading receiver for the Panthers in the losing effort. Straight coach is steady balling. Chicago and Philly. Straight coach 47-13 in the victory here. Mitch Trubisky, 14 of 20, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jordan Howard running big, 23 rushes, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. David Nelson, 4 receptions, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Chicago. And steady Snell, he's either a rookie or second-year guy, I can't remember. 13 of 24, only 152 yards, 1 touchdown, and the killer, 5 picks. Anytime you throw 5 picks, guys, you're probably losing that game. Smith had 10 rushes, 61 yards, and a touchdown. And Smith, 6 receptions, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nobody else apparently did anything in this game. Smith had the majority of the rushes and almost half of the receptions. So Snell with Smith is what we're calling the Eagles for now. It is the Philadelphia Smiths. And that is the last game that we are going to take a look at here in Week 3. Let me know what you guys think of the new recap format. I kind of like them. They look pretty clean to me. But if you see anything that you want to upgrade, let me know. I'll make some changes. But that is the Week 3 recap, and I'm working on Week 2. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, guys.